All right, folks, good morning. Welcome back. I'm back in Seattle from a nice long trip in New Jersey. It was actually a short trip, but I was there to see family. As you know, my dad's 80th birthday. And it's really a lot of work to go see family. I only had 5 days over there. So we went and saw family in like 4 different houses in 4 different cities. And it was kind of a just run around like maniacs, but got to play a lot of craps and gamble a little bit too. So I have some stories for you on that level. But yeah, good to be back. And I know I got to put an apology out there right now because I'm seeing Lou here. Lou and Jeff and Chris, DJen, and Wawa and all you guys trying to hook up and play with y'all when I was over there. But it was such a fluid thing. It was like we were down in Cape May for a little bit. We didn't know if we were going to come back to Philly or not that night. We were maybe staying down there. We weren't really sure. So I didn't want to make any plans. But yes, I'll see you at whatever time because we had no idea what we were doing. When you're visiting family, sometimes you're just sitting around and talking and time gets away from you. So I didn't want to make any hard plans. But again, I wanted to play with everybody. So I ended up playing with nobody other than me. I did meet up with subscriber Swerve randomly, just at the casino. It's like, oh my God, I know you. And we just started talking. And that was kind of cool. But other than that, played a little bit alone for the most part. But yeah, I missed y'all. It's really weird not doing the show. I got to tell you, and when I come back like this, it's even weirder because I'm out of rhythm. You know what I mean? Like you get up every day at 6 o'clock, you get showered, you do your thing, go out in the garage, do the throw, come in here, talk a little bit, and you get into this kind of cycle of like 5 hours of sleep and you got your thing. Over there, I'm up till 3 o'clock in the morning because my time's off, and I'm watching myself pre-recorded live. I watched all the lives, of course, with you guys at like 11 o'clock. And 11 o'clock for this show is weird. Like I'm used to this being 8 o'clock in the morning. That's why it's called coffee and craps, not the noon beer and craps. Like over there, it's weird. 11 o'clock in the morning doesn't feel like it's coffee time, right? But anyway, it was kind of fun to watch the shows and hang out with y'all in chat. So anyway, cool. Anyway, let's get into what's actually happening here. Not a whole lot of new stuff other than this. Today's Friday, right? Today's Friday. We have Old Bay. And Old Bay Craps, by the way, won on the most ridiculous. Like we say this a lot on the Friday Night Fight show. And in Chris from Dice DJs, his March Madness that he's doing, you play different on a pitch count. And I keep saying, like, I'm trying to put my finger on what's the difference between online tournament style craps versus casino craps, right? Like we play way different in Crapsy, way different on the Battle Royale, the Friday Night Fights, and way different on Big AZ channel. Why? Because you're on a pitch count. Big AZ oftentimes says you're going to play 3 shooters and that's it. Or you're going to get 10 rolls and that's it. Or our thing is going to be 20 rolls. Chris's thing is 36 rolls and that's all you get. So you got to play different. And Craig in that tournament, or in our matchup there, the last roll of the whole thing, it's the last roll. You're maybe a little bit behind. You drop a bunch of money in random places you'd never drop money. You put more money out there in stupid places, and lo and behold, boom, right? He catches it was an aces or an ace deuce that he caught in the very end there that gives him the victory. It was insane, that weird one roll win, but that's what it is. These online things and tournament play becomes crazy one roll gambits. It's kind of like, to me, that's kind of what's made Nemo sort of famous, right? Is he'll do things that you probably wouldn't do at a table in an online situation because you have the relative safety of, well, okay, I'm out of the tournament. Okay, that's a bummer, but it's not a life-changing thing. Pardon me, I've got a cold. I brought a nice little cold back with me from Philly. So yeah, I think the online stuff is way different, and Vince is a master. So Craig, if you're listening to me, I'm not sure if you're out here, Craig. If you're listening to me, Craig, Vince Armenti is the master of online craps, of tournament craps. Okay, he's got ways to play that he will have you chasing him all day long. Now, you're playing cat and mouse with a 7, but you're only doing it for a certain number of rolls, and you know your windows. So this is going to be an interesting one tonight for sure. The pitch count, yeah, Buckeye says it perfect. The pitch count makes it more of a YOLO. Almost. By the way, this thing is red. Remember, if y'all watch my show where I was showing you how I edit my screens, now I get this stupid red box around your comments. I'll change. Actually, let's change that because I don't like it. I'm going to make this no border, no stinking border, and I want the background to be black. Sorry, but it was bugging me. And let's. Oh God, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's make the text white. Text white, background black. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd, but that was bugging me. And oh my God, what is going on here? Look at this mess. Look what I did. What the hell happened here? Wow. Is it locked? Jeez. Anyway, I'm not sure what I just did. Buckeye, I'm sorry that I made your comment. Enormous. Look at this. Is like in-show editing, and look what the hell happened. I can't. My mouse won't even work. All right, let's just get that out of here. How about Victor's? Does Victor's work? It's just huge. I'm not sure why the things are so big. There we go. That's a better size, and it's black, and it looks cool. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, yeah. So that'll be fun tonight. I think we really should have a series of shows. What I might do actually is bring some guys like Nemo and Vince on here to talk specifically about strategies for online play. And I think I watched, I want to say a couple nights ago, Alfredo was talking to Nemo, and the difference between online play and live play, obviously there's differences there. But the bigger thing, I think the psychological piece of that is that you get so used to playing online and doing crazy dumb shit like we do, that when you go to the casino, you have a hard time separating reality from fantasy. You know what I mean? Like your brain is still in, oh, okay, I'm just gonna go 160 across. What the hell, right? Well, you got $500, so you can't really go 160 across, and that burns you sometimes. So you got to be careful with moving from online to reality, and I think your brain can play tricks with you. So we need to talk about that for sure. I think maybe that's a good topic for a week or so. I think we should get into it. Anyway, there's that. So we had a couple of really good shows, and I'd love to get your comments live right now. Talk to me right now. Tell me, what did you think of the two shows that I did? One being the behind the scenes look, and a few people write me and say, give me the links to the stuff. So I put the links in the video. I put a what do you call it? A wish list together on Amazon that has all the cameras and crap that I have, if you want to follow that. But if you liked the behind the scenes look, let me know. It was cool. And we can arrange actually some one-on-ones if you guys want to do some, let's look at your studio and help you get things set up. I know Jeff's done a lot of that. I'm happy to do that too. So whenever you want to, let me know. We can help out with the studio setups too. I've got a lot of experience now, a year and a half into doing this with the software that I use. I don't like OBS, but I can use OBS and make it work like my setup does. But yeah, if you want to get busy with that, let me know. And also the the Dice Influence video, the slow-mo breakdown. What did you think of the slow-mo breakdown? If you saw that video, that generated a ton of comments, like a ton of, I got a lot of comments on the video. I got a ton of emails on that and some text messages and some interesting conversations between people about the DI stuff. So the results were interesting. I'll tell you this, what I knew was going to happen happened, right? One, most of those results are crap, right? They're very train wrecky. They're very clattery. There's a disaster on most of the throws, and we can all agree on that. There were a few throws in there that were, I think, almost perfection, which is what I've been talking about all the time. I'm spinning them for a reason. I want that high rate of spin so they skip off that deck and keep the top number in action the whole time through. You saw 3 or 4 of the shots where the top die or the bottom die stayed up spinning and active on the number I wanted almost the whole time. That is influence. That's what influence means. I influence the outcome of one of the dice a lot of the times. Now, what I told Greg was, and I think this is very true, that's all well and good, right? We had a great couple of shots on the one die and it worked good, but the other die was still random, which means I'm still 1 in 6 chance of getting a 7. Like, just getting one die to work is nice and it looks pretty on the camera. Doesn't change the fact that the other die can still screw me. The same number of ways. I can still get screwed the same number of ways with the other die. The one thing you get, with the influence on the one die, is that it sets you up for the good combinations, right? If I can settle that one die in on a 2 or a 3, 60% of the time, I know that when the other die is not a 7 or doesn't become the match for the 7, that the pocket that you get in, ends up being a better pocket for you. And I think that's going to be the next level of the DI talk we're going to have. So I'm going to get into some of that more next week. As part of this show here, we're going to do a little bit of, I'm going to bring back the Daily Dose of DI. I have something on it today too, but let's talk about some of these different DI questions that came up, because I think a lot of things came up. So if you like the show, let me know. CCC says, I love the slow-mo. Did you get anything out of it though? Like, to me, watching the slow-mo was cool. The unfortunate piece of it is this too. The camera that I used was my iPad, which I can get the iPad to shoot at, I think, 60 frames per second. Or no, it goes to 120 on the slow-mo, which is not good enough. It's not a high quality enough camera. But when I broke the video down in Final Cut, then what happened was when I rendered it back out, it doesn't render at the same quality. It rendered it out at I think 720 or 1080p. So you lose some of the fidelity of the dice when I re-rendered it out. So you didn't see as good as I saw. When I look at the raw video, you can really see the faces. Like as they tumble, I can count the numbers that are showing up. On the video that I rendered out for you, you can't see it that well. So you have to trust my words when I say it. I'm going to do some better, at some point, better slow-mo cameras. I think this topic is incredibly important for us to pursue, because I think I want to get to the point where we understand A, the goals, and B, what's actually possible. So we got some of that. I thought it was fun. I hope you guys did it. Oh, Duracell, see, I got you converted. I'm converting you to the Twister's great, man. I'm telling you, I was telling Cage this. And he's, it's funny, he gets mad at me sometimes. But I think he misunderstood me, because I said to him, I say all the time, it's an easy throw. It's an easy throw. And I don't mean that it's an easy throw to perform, like to get the results with. I think it's what he thinks I mean by that. I don't. What I mean by that is, for me, the arm angle that you're using to make that throw, for me, is very comfortable. I've had a bunch of shoulder surgery, so the regular par toss is actually kind of it pinches my nerve. So this one, because your arm is twisted differently, it's easy. It's a very natural arm motion. I think it's an easy toss to do. Now, getting it right is incredibly hard. So I love it, and I think that's cool. What else is going on here? Look in the chats. Make sure I don't have anything I'm missing. Remember to put a PC or a Q in front of your chat. So if you want me to answer a question or something as we're going today, that's how I'm going to find it. That's how I'm going to find it. So let me get in there. Let's see. What else? Who's Live Dealer Craps? Is that a new person, or is that Vince in disguise? I know Vince likes to play the Live Dealer Craps. I've got a feeling this is actually Vince. Anyway, there's that. Maybe I'm old and late to the party. Didn't know that. Let's see. What do we have else to talk about? Let's see. Oh, the paycheck. Okay, let's talk about the paycheck. Today's paycheck was fun-ish. I basically played what I did in Philly. I'll do a little bit of Philly recap here for you in a minute. Philly had a rough time. Let me go back to the screen. I'll talk to you one-on-one. In Philly, I had a rough time. I played a bunch of sessions. I went to, first things first, I went to Atlantic City on Saturday. We got into town on Thursday night. Thursday night? Or I forget now. I think we got to town Friday. No, we got to town Friday. Next morning, I went to AC to meet my brother. My brother lives in Cape May. And we went to, we met at the Hard Rock, which is his favorite place to play. And then we went over to Resorts. And we played craps twice. Now, the thing is, I wanted to learn from him poker. He's a big poker player. Well, it turns out he stopped playing poker in Atlantic City. He said poker has become nothing but punks, in his words. He says, every casino that has poker now has nightclubs, and it's just all a bunch of young kids out there just being jerks and, doesn't want that energy. He stopped playing poker. I'm like, well, that sucks. I don't get my poker lesson, right? Played craps. I played first because the table was full. I waited for my spot to get in. The guy leaves. I jump in there. $25 table. I only brought $500. I don't know why. I'm so used to here, right? And I really wasn't planning on playing more than just on Saturday with him and maybe one other time. So I brought, $500. I figure I'll take the $500. I'll make a little bit of money. I'll buy him for $500 again. That'll be my day. That'll be my weekend. Well, he plays three-card poker, walks over to me when next to me opens up, and I'm starting to show him how to play. And if you've ever taught somebody how to play live at a table, it's hard. Like, you can't really make your own bets So I basically went to the don't pass and I just played don't, the little progressive ladder on the don't, and the 6 and 8. I just played basically the 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8 is what I did. And let those bets sit there. I did the sister press collect on the 6 and 8. Let the don't pass do its thing. Well, and I'm teaching him. He plays pass line. I'm showing him what to place and how the numbers work. And if you think he's going to roll a 5, bet the 5. And we're kind of going through, and he's just monkeying around, not paying attention at all. So I missed a bunch of presses. I got picked off in the don't pass so many times. It just, one of those days where, it was 7, 7, 11, 7 on the come out. They'd set a point, right? My 5 and 6 and 8 to be out there. They'd 7 out immediately. So my don't pass would win after getting picked 3 times, and my place bets were good. So I lost like $350. And I wasn't paying attention. More about getting Joe kind of, into it. He actually made money. My brother is an aggressive son of a bitch. You think I am aggressive sometimes? That guy, once he learned the word press, it was over for him. He was like all in. He was having a good time. We moved over to, where'd we go now? We went to resorts next. And again, I'm licking my wounds, right? I only got, $180 left or something. Go to resorts, $15 table there. I go to the ATM, grab enough money to make an even buy-in. I buy in again and did okay. So over there, we actually won like $175 or something. Nothing big on that one. The doers were great there, by the way. Had a good talk with the doers. We only played for maybe an hour at both places, I guess. And again, I wasn't playing my own way. Like I wasn't playing John. I was just there to play while Joe was playing. And I was watching him have a good time, and it was cool. He is a slots player, and I'm like, I can't believe he plays slots. Like he's always been a poker guy, right? And table games guy. He plays slots like JB plays craps. Now JB, I'm talking about myopia movie. Joey plays slots like he plays craps. He doesn't give a shit. My brother Joe brings $3,000, and he goes into the high limit slot room, plays the whatever they are, the dragon bonus, blah blah blah, whatever it is, and $600, $25 a spin, looking for that bonus, right? Burn the $600, pick a different machine, $600 in there, $25 a spin, burn $600, rinse and repeat, and then he catches a bonus, wins $5K, and goes home. That's his thing. He's literally in there, huge base bets on the slots, looking for the home run. He's like, he says what you all say, ain't worth it to go up here and win $200. Ain't worth it. And I'm like, I'm paycheck guy. I'll take $200 all day long. He wants to hit the hammer, right? That's why at craps, he's like, I don't want $80. He's like, I'm going to go and try and make that, he was instantly power pressing because he wants a home run or bust. His entire methodology is I'm going to burn 3K to win 10K. I'm looking to burn 5K to win 500. He's looking to take the 5K. If he had 5K, he's looking to win 15. Like that's my brother's mentality. That's JB's mentality. That's probably some of y'all's mentality. Interesting, right? You talked to him a little bit, and we spent a lot of time. We got back to his house. We were drinking up and talking a little bit. And it's like, where'd you get that mentality from? Like, how do you get to all in or bust mentality? And in his mind, and I think there's some merit to this, right? On the slots especially, the slots are much more of a home run potential over craps. Craps, you got to be lucky when you're there, when it happens, and you bet perfect. You got to bet perfectly and catch a good roll. On the slot machine, when it's your time, it's your time. And if you're there, it's an instant $25 turns into $10,000. Like that's how slots work, right? So he looks at slots like that. He's like, hey, I'm taking my shot to win the biggie, and that's it. He's got a stack of, W2Gs that are this tall because of all the nice wins that he's gotten. It's an interesting mindset. And I said and I'm like, you share a mindset with my friend JB who plays craps that way. He just doesn't even care unless we're going to get here because there's no sense in winning a little bit. Me, I'm in bankroll builder mode. So yeah, I'm okay with the small incremental wins and the consistent wins, but I can easily see the slide or the climb into the way of thinking where I'm bringing $1,000, I'm playing the Philly special, and I'm going to turn that $1,000 into 5, or I'm going to lose it and I'm going to put the whole thing up. And I think it's this case of like, we say on the table, how much are you willing to lose on this shooter? If I drop 110 inside, I'm saying I'm willing to lose $110. You're saying I'm willing to lose 110 if you're going to go inside like I did in the garage. That's what you're telling the casino. I'm willing to lose 110 so that I can win $35 or $70 or whatever it is. That's your mindset. If you're coming with $1,000, you're saying I'm willing to lose $1,000, not to win 350, right? Bet 110 to win 35. I'm not putting $1,000 up to win 350. I'm putting $1,000 up to win $3,000. Different way of approaching this game. Not for everybody. Not for the faint of heart. Not for me with the bankroll that I've got. Right. So I think you should think about that. And I think it's important to do it. Anyway, we went back up home. We did my dad's 80th, which was cool. I got some pictures of that. Did some old photo album searching. Went back to Philly Live twice. We went to Philly Live 2 times. We went on Monday night and Wednesday night. And both Monday night I won. I did what I did in the garage. I went in there and, we did the don't pass and an inside bet, 2 hits down, rinse and repeat, battled all the way back. Got all the money that I had lost in AC, I won it all back. Swerve was there. I was actually down, I was down about 100 and some bucks. No, I was down to about $100 from 500. And Swerve walked up, hey dude, how you doing? We, shook hands, got a little picture. And then he got the dice and he shot, and I did again the don't pass and the 5 and the 6 and the 8. He had a bunch of 6s and 8s. I spread out, and he got me to almost even. I went from down four and change to being down about $80 when he was done, about 16 roller. Dice come right to me. We were on the other side of the stick, and I had like a 20 roller. Brought myself all the way back. So between he and I went from being down to $150, down about $350 or so, roughly, to being up about $400. So 2 shooters, boom, boom, boom. Did it. Philly special worked perfectly. We hit all the good things. It was great. We did a good job. Battled hard back, got out of there because it was time to go. And that was great, right? I had withdrawn $1,000 from the bank. I had about $1,400 in my pocket. I felt pretty good about myself. Good. Next day, my wife's like, I'm bored. Let's go to the casino. I'm like, all right, fine. Let's go back up. Off we go to the casino. Me, her, and my stepmother. We had dinner plans with my sister at 6. We get to the casino at 1. So you know what you're facing, right? I'm facing the barrel of 5 hours at the casino in the middle of the day, right? So in the middle of the day, there's no sports on. There was the World Baseball Classic was on one TV in the sports book. Nothing else was on. It was cornhole and a bunch of other stupid crap. And I looked at that on purpose because I know what's going to happen. And what happened, happened. I get to the table, I buy in, just like today. Don't pass, inside for 110, hit, go to the odds on the don't pass, come a 7. Next shooter, don't pass a little higher, inside 110, hit, go to the odds, bang a 7 out. I'm up like 250 in 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. I'm up 250. I'm like, let's burn, baby. I'm out of here, right? Now I'm up $600 for the trip. I look at my watch and I'm like, I got to kill 4.5, 5 more hours here. What am I going to do? Look at the TV set. Sportsbook is showing the Cornhole Championship and the NCAA March Madness preview show, but there's no volume, right? You can't hear what they're saying anyway. So I'm like, well, shit. I'm not going to play slots, right? I wasn't going to play anything else. The bubble craps machines were down. I would have went to bubble craps and played $6 across for the rest of the day if I had the option. I didn't have the option. So I stuck at that table and I should have walked away. I didn't. I sat there and did the same thing, but I lowered it down. I went 25 don't, just 6 and the 8, and tried to run the 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, and bled all of it away. Bled the whole damn thing down and I'm losing 350. Right? Burning hours, just trying to burn clock. Whatever. The money I brought there was there to burn, and I don't like losing like that. And again, I lost in AC because I wasn't paying attention as closely as I should be. So what? I lost in Philly because I was trying to burn time. I was trying to play low volatility, a little bit of horseman. I tried the molly, I tried the dolly. Nothing was working. I just kept bleeding $25 every shooter for the next 4 hours and ended up being upside down, which sucks. I don't want to go. I didn't want to have to come home and deposit, whatever I'm depositing today, $825. when I took out 1,000. That's a bummer to me. But it is what it is, right? You sometimes that happens to you, and that's my story. But other things at the table were interesting. Two things. One is I have a new nickname. When I bought in, I did what I said I was going to do. You know, the guys who play with me know I do this, right? I actually bought in, and I immediately drop $25, right? I buy in for 500. I drop a quarter right to the boys. I'm like, for the boys, drop this, and they're like, really? They give me a sideways look. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like to bet during the roll so much, you know? So, I said, they dropped the $25 immediately. As they were changing stick and dealer, they were calling me the quarter pounder because I gave them a quarter to start the day. Now, I did give them the fire bet for $1. And I did, when I was shooting, go, you know, I gave them an inside bet. I said, let's press like crazy. You know, we'll press you guys up on the inside. There was no ATS there. So I did that for them. In Atlantic City, the same thing. Atlantic City, I hate to say this. I'm embarrassed to say it. I hit the ATS, the all tall and the small once. I hit the tall once and the small once. I never bet it for myself. I put the dealers on it for a 1-1-1. I never play it for myself because I don't hit it that often. I don't like to bleed the money. So yeah, I totally blew a huge paycheck on the ATS down there because I didn't bet it, but I hit it, which was a huge bummer. In Philly though, yeah, so I'm playing, doing my thing. The $9 action thing that I did, they were like, what are you doing? The box guy thought I was nuts. And I said, trust me. And I said, watch this throw. You know, and I did my chopper with the ones on top. I said, watch my come out. And I'm on the don't. I hopped all the ones and I did a $5 horn high ace deuce. Boom, ace deuce. Boom, aces. 4-1-5. And I pressed them all up. And I got the point set with a $25 don't pass and $80 in the rack. And he was like, what did you just do to us? I'm like, yeah, that happens sometimes, right? I throw a lot of ones. That move worked out all the time. The G Money move worked on the 9 probably 5 times. I think I hit a $200 9. And once I hit it for 400 when I went from 40, racked 2 blacks, went to 80, and racked 4 blacks. I did that twice during one of the sequences. That move worked great. The 4 and 10 never hit. I never even came close to flipping those. I never even got them past the 100. Like I get them from 35 to 100, never hit them the second time. That move didn't work for me at all. The G Money special worked, and the 6 and 8 move worked great. There was a fight at my table. I actually had to buy a guy. This guy comes in. He's like probably 6'7", basketball player. He comes in, doesn't want to buy in mid roll. He goes, hey, can you cash me in? And he gives me $200. I give him 2 stacks of greens, and he starts playing. I've never done that before. I bought the guy in, so anyway, I got his $200 in my pocket, and I was playing that way. That guy got really pissed off at a guy on the end of the table. The guy on the end is shooting, and he was a super fast shooter. Like the dice would come to him, he would grab them and throw, like instantly, like boom, out of his hands. This guy's trying to put a bet down, and he's actually like tossing to the dealer, like, "Hey, give me this." Before he even got his words out, the dice are in the air. The guy at the end of him starts dropping F-bombs. Get your effing hands out of the deck. And like, no effing late betting. And he's like, who are you talking to me? And it was on. It was on. Like, it was like, hold these 2 guys back. Security comes up and escorts them both out of there. It was crazy, man. It was like that went from 0 to 1,000 in like 8 seconds, you know? And I don't know if the guy was wrong or not. Like I say, don't be a douchebag and bet late. I don't think he was betting late. I think he was just trying to get his bets in, and the guy threw the dice so fast. Like the stick was too quick getting the dice out. Kind of caused that whole situation. It was insane. It was insanity. They were so ratcheted up, right? Now the table, everybody's like, you know, got the whole adrenaline thing going. And I had a bunch of bets out there. And let me ask you this question in chat. What would you do? What would you do in chat? I got my 9 at 100. I got the 5 at 100. My 6 and 8 are both at 90. I think they're at 90. They weren't quite at 120 yet. And I hadn't collected on the 6 and 8 yet. I had my pressed up. I hadn't collected yet. The 9 and 5 were both pressed up on the G Money and hadn't collected yet. And I had a quarter on the don't. And my every fiber of my being is saying, here's my wrestling match. I'm like, turn your shit off. Turn your bets off. Turn your bets off. This table just went sideways. Like the tension went sideways. I'm like, oh my God. Turn yourself off, John. What are you doing? And in my brain, I'm saying, don't be superstitious. right? Don't be superstitious. It doesn't matter. The energy doesn't really matter. It's just whatever. But what happened was you're on the same point. They passed the dice to the guy that didn't get tossed. Now a new guy's got the dice. What do? Do you turn your bets off? Right? Or, because two things can happen. One is the table goes the table follows the energy and goes all the way in the toilet, right? The second thing that can happen is that the table, everybody's on adrenaline and the guy with the dice goes off on heater, right? If you're a believer in energy, like, or a vibe energy, what are you doing there? Are you pulling your shit down? Lou, pull your bet down, right? He says, pull your bets down. Who's pulling their bets down? Turn the bets off and come down. It's not superstition. Y'all are giving off, right? Turn the bets off. And you're right, Stickman's fault for being too fast, right? What did I do? I said, I want to see this G-Money thing hit again. Like, the guy next to him was laughing. He's like, the guy with the dice is giggling. Oh my God, y'all see that shit? That's crazy, right? What does he throw? 7. Next throw, right? I lose $400, like just like that. I should have turned my bets off. I don't want to be superstitious, right? And I know that the math guys will be like, there's no such thing. You only remember that story because it happened. If the guy had thrown a 9, your story's a whole different story. And you're remembering that it didn't matter. As it turns out, I remember the badness of it. And that one, in that day, this is when I was there for the long shift. That's the one that killed me. Because I was about even. I was about, $600 in the rack. I was hammering. That guy was on a good roller. And then boom, I go down to $200 in the rack just like that. And now I'm like, frick, I got 3 hours to kill. I got $200 in the rack. What am I going to do? I went flat don't for the next hour and a half. I missed out on 2 20+ rollers by going flat don't, but I had no money left. I couldn't even go inside. I had barely enough to do it. I had to watch 2 great rollers, right? I threw okay. I did the horseman because I had no money left in the rack and I wasn't going to go to the ATM. And yeah, burned it, man. That was a rough loss that led to a worse loss because I couldn't play the 2 rolls that came or on myself. Total bummer, man. Total bummer. Yeah, it's superstition, but damn it if it didn't freaking bite me in the ass. But it was cool. I don't care. It was fun. I had a good time. And yeah, so the quarter pounder had a good time. Doors made money. We had a great time, even if I lost. So let me check my chats real quick, and then I'm going to do some more talking. PC. Holy crap. What is going on here? Buckeye Slim has a lot of... Yeah, I'll tell you what. You're right. If the Bubble Craps machines were open, I would have been on Bubble Craps, and I would have been just fine. Well, there we go. I would have been just fine. That would have been the way to have done this. Unfortunately, they weren't open, and I was playing $100 a shooter versus $6 per shooter, and I could have just sat there and ran the system and been totally fine. So, Buckeye again. The energy matters, doesn't it? The energy does matter, I guess. I don't know. I just didn't. I'm like, for the love of all that's holy, let's not be superstitious. Let's just have this thing work. And damn it, it didn't work. All right. So what else do we have to talk about? I'm going to go into here, and let's see. Now it's funny because now that I say that, y'all know what my buttons I'm pushing are. Let's talk about this. Can you do DI someplace other than a practice? So when I put out the video, the slow motion video that shows my dice flying well and landing well and all the things, somebody says to me, and actually multiple people ask the same question. That's all great on your house table, right? I know my bounce in the garage. I know even my local casino. I know the table well enough to know. Here's how I throw them there. What do you do elsewhere? And the analogy that I give, I always give a golf analogy. But Greg and I were talking about something else. So I'll give you both of them. So in the golf world, if those of you who play golf, you know this. There's no 2 courses that are the same. The grass is different. The fairway grass is different breeds of grass, right? So it doesn't always play the same off of your club face. You're not always going to be on a flat lie. You're not always going to have no wind. You're not always going to have trees or dunes on the side. There's always a different condition, right? In golf, you train to to adjust to the conditions. You know that you can shape your shot in ways that'll cut through wind, stay low under the tree line, that'll get run, that'll check up. You know you can do things, right? And you have to take a hole or two to adjust to what you're seeing out there. The driving range helps, the putting green helps. I think bowling alleys are the same, right? Bowling alleys are consistently wide, consistently long, just like a craps table for the most part. Their surfaces are different. There's different wood that's used, different amounts of wax that are on there. They're different, right? If you're renting a ball, your ball's never the same. The holes are never the same in the ball, right? They weigh different all the time. They have chips in them and every damn thing else, right? It's you trade enough to know how to adjust to where you are. I think dice throwing is the same thing. I adjusted. Now, luckily, Planet Hollywood, Resorts, and Philly Live were all about the same bounce. They were all essentially 12-foot tables like mine. They were all about the same bounce. As a matter of fact, they're a lot less bouncy than my table was. They're softer, that softer padding, but my table's super hard. My table's like hitting off of concrete. I adjusted quick. My first roll at Planet Hollywood, I bet just the don't, and that was it. I threw the dice, and I set a number, threw them again, immediately knocked myself off the don't. Just like boom, off the don't, right away, hit my point. Okay, cool. Go to the pass line, right? Threw a come out 11, set a point, hit 2 more box numbers. I'm like, hey, I got it. I know where I am now. I found my landing zone. I found my happy place, and then I started betting. It didn't take long, right? If you have any kind of muscle memory at all, any kind of skill, I don't think it's hard to adjust to a new table. Now, it can be difficult if you can't find your spot and you're shooting from farther away. Yeah, it's an adjustment. It's not easy, but that's the point of practice. The point of practice is to be able to get so good at what you're doing that you can diagnose a problem and also make an adjustment. You look at guys like George, and Greg brought George up. George throws 10,000 hours a year, goes to Vegas, has to adjust. From his table to the Vegas tables, he has to adjust and adjust quickly. And it takes him a while, right? We've all heard stories of George not having a great round, right? One of the best dice throwers that we've seen online has a rough time in Vegas sometimes, right? Because you got to adjust. You got to get the feel of that table. The trick is not to be betting while you're adjusting, right? You don't grab the dice the first time at a table and go 320 across, right? Pass line max odds and hope to God you figure the table out. You gotta ease into it. And I think I'm okay with missing out on myself throwing some rolls as I ease in to get where I'm at. So that, to me, that's my way of looking at it, right? And what does it matter anyway? Who knows, right? This might all be folly anyway. But if you are a quote unquote controlled tosser or trying to throw with some sort of controlled energy, it's not hard to figure the tables out. Really, it's not. It only takes a handful of throws to see how hard the surface is or how launchy the surface is. Make your adjustment. And I was getting them to land at the back wall and never bounce off within 5 or 6 shots. And every casino had the same table. So when I went to live after AC, I'm like, this is the exact same table. It was like no big deal for me. So I think you practice at home to build the muscle memory up, just like a golfer does, right? I can shape a shot in golf, draw, hook, high, low, forespin, backspin. I can do what I need to do in golf. And I can use what I've learned at the driving range to adjust to what I'm seeing out there on the course. And I think dice are the same. So that's my personal opinion on it. Am I good at it? No. I'm okay at it. I know what to do, right? My muscle memory is not to the point yet where I've can say that I can actually make the adjustment, but I know that you can do it. So is it possible? Yeah. Is it easy? No. Especially when you play at the same place all the time. My local casino, I know their table well enough to know how to practice for it. So there's it. I did say launchy. I might have meant to say bouncy, but I have a cold, and that's what happened, Craig. So yeah, I said launchy. Yeah, launchy, right? When you land it, it launches them off the table. Let's call that a launchy table. Let's say Jen's back and listen to my intuition. That's funny. Yeah, I know. What I said on the name of the oh God, what's happening here? The name of the episode today, right, is what? Why is this thing going like crazy? It's practice what you preach, right? I always practice what I preach. And I say all the time, the minute you think, turn them off, right? The smart answer is turn them off. The mathematical answer is don't worry about it. The dice are going to do, no matter who's got them in their hand, they're going to be random. It doesn't matter. That's what I went with. And yeah, there it is. Okay, what else do you guys want to chat about? Is there anything else to talk about? I guess we can do this too. I guess I can give you one of these too. So don't be that guy, right? Taking forever to set the dice. Another DI thing, right? DIs, the knock on DIs, you see, just don't take so damn long. People get pissed. Don't take so long to set your dice, right? Most DIs don't take that long. Like I played with a lot of guys this weekend. They're not taking that long. They're taking 5-6 seconds, get them up and whatever. Some guys take a long time to get the throw off, right? Most guys are setting pretty quick. That's not the problem. The guy that was the problem was this little guy at the end. Oh my gosh, this guy didn't speak any English. None English. He would throw his money out there and point at all the bets that he wanted, right? The only words that he knew was watch your hands. He would yell, watch your hands when he threw. That's all he knew. But he was one of the guys that was like throwing the dice against the back wall, like right in front of him forever. Sometimes 20 times he would roll the dice against the back wall before he would shoot. 100 times worse than any dice setter ever would be. It got to the point where the dealers, which was classic, the dealers were all saying no roll, no roll. Every time he did it, they were yelling no roll. Well, they took forever. Don't be that guy. Please don't be that guy. I don't need you to be like instantly throwing like the one guy did and messing up the rhythm of the table. But I also don't need you to sit there and have everybody doing one of these eye rolls, right? That also sucks the rhythm. I'm a big believer in table rhythm. So he sucked the whole rhythm out of the game. It was funny for a minute, and then it got to be not so funny. He was the guy, by the way, that was on the 20 roller that I missed. That whole thing was 20 rolls. It probably took 45 minutes to do 20 rolls. And I missed the whole freaking thing because the guy before me was the one that knocked off my big bets and had me down. I was on the don't pass only on this guy. I had a don't pass bet. He's a 20 roller, and he's taken 9 years to get his dice set. Oh, it was killing me. It was absolutely killing me. So anyway, that's it, guys. That's what I want to talk about. I just want to give you a little recap for the weekend. Yeah. Anything else you want to ask me? Questions about the videos we put out this week or what you want to see next week? I was going to talk next week a little bit more about betting. I was going to talk more next week about this notion of being all in for the home run versus playing it safe versus a more rhythmic type of play. So I'm going to do some more comparisons of those styles next week. I'm going to play the Philly special for the paycheck out in the garage, and then we're going to take the paycheck in a different direction. Like I said, I'm actually going to set the paycheck up a lot like Ken's envelope series. We're going to put an account together with $100,000 in the account. Let's go back to the screen here. I'm going to go back to a $100,000 account. I'm going to withdraw $5,000 every day. We're going to play. Right, we're going to put the $5,000 back in the bank. I'm going to put $500 into the I'm living off this account, and anything extra is going to go into John gets to go to the movies account. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do that starting in 2 weeks. I'm about done running strategies. If something new comes up that you want me to run, I'll pause. We'll run that one for a week and see if it's worth it. But that's going to be the plan. We're going to go out and do a real paycheck style play. I'm considering doing some live casino paycheck stuff too. So stay tuned for that. Midmo, nobody else turned their bets off. Right? Again, I'm playing it Philly live. So for a lot of guys, it's their local. So they all know each other. These guys they all know each other by name. So they all were like, okay, cool. Whatever the guy's name was, Charlie, whatever the hell it was. They all knew him. So they all left their stuff on. Nobody else turned bets off. And I didn't want it, not that I wanted to be the guy that did, but yeah, there was nobody even blinked when it went to the other guy. So, John Pond, what is a superstition or major distraction that delayed the natural time progression? What psychology factor playing the game of craps? That delayed the natural time progression. I don't know, man. Psychology is such a weird piece of this thing. And like I said, I'm a believer in rhythm, right? You know, I'm a rhythm. I tell folks with the DI thing, I'm a rhythm person. I have my way, my breath, my thing. I believe in rhythm. I do believe in energy to some degree, like positive, negative energy. You want to have like a good vibe at the table. Does that matter on the dice? No, I don't think so. I think it matters to me as a person. I don't think it influences the dice at all. So the psychology piece of it, if it's taking too long, it doesn't change the outcome of the dice, right? It doesn't change the outcome of my bets. It changes my enjoyment that I'm there. And I have made poor decisions after something like that. So after the fight, after this guy's taken too much time, I can let that sometimes get into my head. That's why I say don't be a douchebag, don't be that guy. Some of these things that I bring up to you, they're etiquette things for a reason. And to me, when it messes me up, my internal rhythm or energy, I end up making poor decisions. And I think it's less about yelling upon the dice, the outcomes, right? To me, it's about it ends up impacting my brain. Like my decision-making changes. It's almost like for that 15, 20 seconds, I'm a different person because I'm like, oh God, this guy's pissing me off. Or, just throw that in. He makes his number and I'm like, screw it. And, go out there. And that's what happens sometimes. And there's a mental discipline that has to be addressed with that. It's a psychology thing. So I hope that answers your question. What else we have here? One more PC, and then I'm going to go to work. Let's see. Dice Dr. Dan. Oh, PC. Buckeye wants to know what I'm using for streaming software. I use Ecamm. So I have a Mac. I'm a Mac person because of my work, and I use Ecamm streaming software. I've used everything. I've used OBS, which I find very clunky and hard to use. It works, but it's hard to use. Ecamm is like OBS, but made for being easy to use. I've used StreamYard. I've used EVMux. I've used Restream. These online platforms are great. They're really, really good. They make it so easy. They're $20 a month for most of them, but they're super solid. Let's see. Dice Dr. Dan says, that's not happening yet. So here's what's going on, and I'll give you the exact numbers. You guys deserve to know the truth, right? The $100,000 that I'm doing for the garage thing, it's virtual. Obviously, I'm going to do a virtual account. We're going to pretend we're withdrawing the money, right? My actual G account, right? We've talked about this. I've paid off, schools with it. I bought the table with it. I bought this equipment with it. That thing's down to about 5 now, right? I got to work that thing back up to 50 again. That's why I'm all about 200, 300, 400 bucks at a time, and it's deposit. When I pull $1,000 out and put 875 back, that pisses me off because I need that to build that account back to where it's going to be, right? I want 20 bullets. If I got 50K in that account, what I'm really coming to the casino with is 2,500. I'm coming with 1/20th of that G account, not a tenth of it. So 50K means 2,500. 100K means 5,000, right? So I'm practicing my tail off here with you all every day to get to the point when I get that bankroll back up where it needs to be, we can do the thing. That's what's happening. So yeah, I'm busting my tail on these smaller buy-ins and smaller profit levels to rebuild that thing back up. That's what I did. I did it for years and years and years. I'm doing it again. So yeah, there it is. Yeah, so Jen, you want to play along? So I'm going to set some ground rules. When we do the 100K BR series, I'm going to set the ground rules. And that's when you do Crapsy with me, you're going to buy in for 100K. And you're going to manage your Crapsy account from 100K as you please. I'm going to manage mine 5,000 at a time with a virtual account, but you guys can buy in for that. I've also got some other Crapsy things planned that I want to do. But yeah, the bankroll in the morning series will be no rebuys. You're buying it one time, and that's it. That's your bankroll. If you burn it, you burn it. But you're going to bankroll. You're going to paycheck with me as we go. So there it is, guys. All right, that's it. I'm going to get out of here. It's 9 o'clock. A lot of talking from me. Not a lot of crapsing from me. Monday morning, we'll get back to rolling back here on the table and the paycheck stuff. So that said, I'll see you tonight. Vince Armenti versus Craig from Old Bay Craps. It's going to be a barn burner tonight for Friday Night Fights. I'll see you out there. You'll have a good day in the meantime, and I'll catch you tonight. Have a good one. Bye, y'all.